Will now
just
be
to have
recorded.
some glimpse, right? Like uh, even I am a pharma graduate, passed out in year 2009. Uh, I switched my career from marketing to IT. I have worked in different SAP modules, like started my career with SAP but the core module was SAP SD. Then slowly got an opportunity to work in SAP AII OER, which is an old serialization track and trace system from SAP. Then got an opportunity to work on the implementations on SAP ATTP for the pharma clients. Worked with multiple pharma clients um, in different areas, like worked in Russia regulations, EU regulations, uh, China, and then from last 3-4 years working for US regulations and all for the implementations for the pharma clients. This is about myself, like having good amount of experience in SAP ATTP, and then the latest versions on SAP corporate serialization, which is an advanced versions of SAP ATTP. So basically SAP ATTP is all about uh, advanced track and trace for pharmaceuticals, where majority of the clients will be pharma, but the same solution, but the same package can be implemented for other domains as well, like uh, fashion industry, tobacco industry. It's all about serialization, right? Tracking, generating serial numbers, and then making use of those serial numbers for tracking in the supply chain uh, network. So yeah, to make it user friendly and then more compatible with other uh, domains, SAP comes up with SAP corporate serialization as well, which would be an advanced versions of SAP ATTP. It covers many aspects. I mean, if someone is interested in SAP corporate serialization, we can take that content into different sessions, but primarily we'll focus on SAP ATTP. Okay.
Hello, hello, Anirudh. Anirudh, right? Your good name?
Yeah. Yes, Amir.
Yeah, yeah. Anirudh, yeah, one small dot. So, Anirudh, we don't know SAP SD or anything. We are new to this SAP ATTP. So, whether that will be easy for us to learn directly SAP ATTP, or we have to learn SD first.
No need of learning SAP SD. See, if you learn SAP SD,
As
right, the course itself, it will take you 1 year to learn,
yeah,
right? It
yeah.
doesn't make sense to learn SD and then on top of it ATTP for, let's say, 2 months or 3 months. It
Okay,
doesn't make any sense. Okay, rather than that, I'll during the trainings, right? Like wherever the SD part is required or whatever, like the integrations between SAP
okay,
ECC S4HANA, the main
okay.
integration touch points, wherever the information or the knowledge required, I will share that knowledge. That knowledge is sufficient for you to understand what is happening on SAP ECC, why it is important to integrate to ATTP,
Okay,
and how
okay,
does it help.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
So
okay.
in that way, we will cover end to end, not purely talking on SAP ATTP instance. We will cover multiple instances here. Uh, our focus is how ATTP works with respect to other solutions, right? Like other integrated systems.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, yes.
So in today's demo, basically we'll divide today's agenda into three topics like self. It's already done, self introduction. Then we'll talk on SAP ATTP detail overview and what we will provide during our training session, the training content, right? So this is all about myself, which I have explained. And then when we talk on SAP detailed overview, yeah. So um, I hope majority of us like already working in serialization, why it is important, what markets are involved in the serialization area, right? Like let's say Russia reporting, China, US, uh, Bahrain, whatever it is, like we know, right? When an organization or the client is global present, having footprints in globally, right? Like whoever has to follow the regulations as per the country, they have to purchase the package and then use this solution SAP ATTP for regulatory purpose, right? So uh, basically, it all depends on market requirements. If country asks us to regulate or do reporting for us from, I mean, for if I say for means like for the client perspective, the client has to do all the mandate things, right? Because of this reason, uh, I say the market requirements and all, we can use this solution. Like we have many other serialization systems like track and trace link, uh, which is a competitor for us, but it has its own limitations. Majority of the pharma clients use SAP HTTP, right? So it all depends on the need of the customer, in which area they need to implement, in which country they need to implement the ATTP, and then why it is needed. This is purely to uh, counterfeit the drugs, right? We know counterfeit is a big problem in all the industries where the falsified medicines will circulate for a reputed medicine or the brands, right? Uh, so to counterfeit those situations, uh, pharma industry always need a serialization system. So this ATTP or the earlier versions of SAP ATTP like SAP AI, OER helped pharma clients in overcoming with the counterfeit problem. So there are many reasons, it gives us the flexibility of communicating with other clients easily in an electronic form, where we'll call as EPCIs communications, the file exchange. Uh, when I say short terms, right? Like if you don't know, please feel free to ask. EPC is an electronic product code. EPCIS is an electronic product code information uh, systems. Like, yeah, these are the terms, typical terms which will be used. So in a nutshell, we can talk more like once we go more in detail when we are discussing in a related topic during the training sessions. This is just for your high level of introduction, right? And then we can talk on SAP ATTP versions, what are the current available versions, what was the previous versions and all. And then we can talk more on the business process coverage. Like we will have these scenarios, like business process is nothing but the manufacturing processes for a client. Let's say a client can have own manufacturing unit. How does a own manufacturing unit will communicate their line systems to SAP ATTP, right? We need to set up that entire uh, hardware devices or the software solutions which are linked to the site systems to the ATTP server, right? So that we'll call it as own manufacturing scenario. The second one is MAH scenario. MAH scenario is authorization holder scenarios, like where few of the clients will request us to produce few of the medicines on behalf of them. Let's say Ranbaxy is requesting to produce a product Novartis. And in this case, for Novartis, Ranbaxy is an MAH where the brand owner is the market authorization holder is Ranbaxy for that medicine, but Novartis is manufacturing that particular medicine for Ranbaxy. They just manufacture the product and they'll supply that product to Ranbaxy. Okay. So how does that integration works, right? And how what it takes us to set up instance so that both the servers or the clients interaction would help uh, takes place. So that covers like MH scenario, and CMO scenario is something like contract manufacturing organization where as a Novartis we request some of other entities like contract manufacturers to manufacture certain drugs or certain medicines on behalf of Novartis, right? Like which we'll call it as contract manufacturing organization. So these are the typical scenarios, like typical three scenarios, which would predominantly cover all majorly used by all pharma clients, like own manufacturing, MH scenario, brand, CMO scenarios. So that covers the process, business process coverage, and what it does take for us to implement the solution, right? What solution is required to implement those business processes. And this solution scope, which talks about in SAP instance, and SAP has used this global standards one solution, like the standard format of EPCS communication. Let's say when I say GS1 standards will give us like the basic information which starts with company prefix, right? The company prefix is an unique number given to each pharma client by this GS1 organization, which is something like a country code. Country code will be always unique and company code will be always unique globally. Okay. So the company code will be encoded into a GTIN, into a GLN, into a pallet serial number, so that it would it would help companies or the clients whenever they interact, right? It would be easy, or a direct communication can be established based on the content of the file. Okay. So these standards will help us so that there is no duplication of data, or the same code cannot be used by any other clients. Duplication can be avoided. So basically these standards is required, which brings globalization, right? And then what country packages are available for SAP ATTP? As I said multiple times till now, like we have Russia package, China, US, uh, Indonesia, India reporting. So these are all the country packages and so on. And technical solution elements, like where we can discuss whenever there is a need to discuss the technical solution elements, we'll definitely talk on this part as well. And then architecture and data model, basically it all depends on the data, how the data is flowing to ATTP, be it master data, transaction data, or the serial number communications between the packaging lines, or sending the EPCS file once commissioned, right? Like the commissioned EPCS file should be sent to ATTP, and how the data is get read from ATTP in ATTP instance. And then uh, what it takes us like to integrate the data, how the architecture to be built, and then the integration between ATTP to ECC. Technically, there should be a vice versa. Like always, the data, majority of the data will flow from ECC to ATTP, right? And then EWM to ATTP. And then in few instances, probably it may update ATTP, but Most of the time ATTP is a receiver instance, right? ECC and EWM instances are for sending the data. And then deployment options. This is all about SAP ATTP introduction. I'll take a pause here. Um, do you have any questions till now? Is it too fast? Is it too slow?
Yeah, it is good. But see, actually, I have one doubt. Means in the are you audible?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can hear you.
Yeah. So how we will means during the training, no? Suppose if you go for the this training, right? Afterwards,
Mhm.
but how this packaging data will be configured to the SAP ATTP? For that means what means you will not means run the batches regarding this packaging data. Okay. So how we'll give the request to means our server to the SAP ATTP, and how the response will be get? Is that through the script or what? How will give the data this in form of APIs? Unless we'll run the bash, how will give the that serialized data to the server, and the server will give request, will take the request from that SAP HTTP, then it will give the response.
Yeah, that during training sessions, right?
Hmm.
We will cover these. This is the main part, right? Like how
Hmm.
the line gets communicated to ATTP, right? What what information we need to create in ATTP? Let's say a packaging line, right? It has to request serial numbers. So
Hmm.
what elements are required in ATTP so that that particular packaging line can request serial numbers. So we will discuss the prerequisites first so that uh, you should understand the flow. It's not just like that the request comes, serial number generated, serial number sent to line. No, the prerequisites will talk. Uh, each element will talk. Like let's say GTIN. When you are requesting a
Hmm.
serial number for particular GTIN, the
Right.
GTIN should be first created in the instance, and then packaging line should be created as a system in the system when I say system, it's an ATTP system, right? And then so these two should have uh, a proper connection so that whether this particular packaging line can request any GTIN in the ATTP server or only restricted to few GTINs within the server, right? So these are the prerequisites or the topics during the training, right? It will come in a flow so that you will understand where the serial number request started, what we have done to achieve that, and then later when it is commissioned, how it is getting communicated to HTTP server, how the file is sent, and then how HTTP understands that file, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then that should be able to load the data into server, right?
No,
See, those are
my
all
doubt.
technical terms.
Yeah, that is okay. That is the flow that I understood. But my question is, how will do means because we will do it through the online training, right? But
Correct.
practically we will do it means without the number. So how will get the number? Without the number, we cannot go for the serialized, no, because the what the training will be there. That's the online, right? We are not physically there to run the
No,
bass. But how to generate this number? That is my question. Suppose if I'll
we.
put a request to
Mm-hmm,
SAP at ATP, right?
mm-hmm.
So for that, there should be some certain numbers are there, right? Based on the number, I will post it to the server. Then I will get a request from the SAP ATP. Finally, this CPCS file has to be accessed. But how it can be
Correct.
possible practically? I mean, because we are here, no, online. We get this through the online, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
see, we have different servers, right? Development, quality, production. You are
Uh,
talking purely on production landscape, right?
right.
You are assuming that you request on a device where you request serial numbers so that the serial numbers will be received into the device. No, the
Right.
same thing can be tested virtually. I mean, virtually in the sense, uh, developments are even in production that can be done, but it is not the way how it works in production, right? Every time client cannot set up every device connections to every landscape. Only production cost can be bared by the client, right?
Right.
So
Right.
to test that something, SAP has given certain tools to test in the lower instances, like in development server. in quality, development and quality both are same, right? I don't differentiate anything, but it depends on how quality data we maintain in development server or quality server. So like SAP has given DM test tool. The DM test tool will help you to generate the serial numbers, and it will also
Okay.
compose the file. It will also send that file and post the events to ATTP. In one go, whatever I said, right, in these three steps will happen in one go, one execution in SAP ATTP in the backend in one transaction.
Okay, okay,
So
that I got.
yeah, I
Yeah,
hope.
yeah. Actually, what I you meant to say means you have already the data is there already with you, and by the time of this, we will like API tools, same that the tools is having with you. So the tools only we can create the number. Am I right?
Yeah, SAP
Okay, okay,
has
fine.
given standard test tool transaction. Okay.
Okay, okay, fine.
SAP runs on transaction codes. So SAP has
Okay,
given DM test tool report transaction. The transaction will help you to process all these steps.
okay, okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, fine.
Okay.
And same also we can be configured to the SAP additive to the L5 integration, no? That national bodies like UMBO, CRPT, like that also, no? That has to be covered, right?
Yeah, we will show you till the reporting file generation in ATTP, how the reporting event gets triggered. But technically, we cannot connect to any L5 servers, right? Like it's like this is just a training platform. We cannot really communicate the messages
Okay,
to
okay,
outside
okay, okay.
servers,
Means only we
right?
will hit the number, right? Only we'll hit the number to that platform only. That only. We'll see
Correct.
the
We will
status.
generate the reporting event and we'll show you like this is how the file generated from ATTP, like outbound file and push to be it L5, whatever it is, like SAP ICH or direct
Okay,
communication. Okay.
okay, okay. That's fine.
See, everything is like how you did it in production landscape, but we will mimic the same thing in the lower instance.
Okay,
You need to understand the difference. You are asking the right questions, being uh, used to production server, right?
right,
We'll
right.
talk more on technical aspect, how the solution is achieved in the lower instance, how the solution is developed to
Okay,
achieve the requirements.
okay, fine. Understood.
This is, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on then. Yeah, this is how the architecture, probably most of us has an idea. Uh, I mean, this is more of a technical stuff, but on a high level, you might know like SAP ECC or S4 HANA will always have a communication with SAP ATTP, either with two ways of communication, be it RFC or web service or data service. These are the two ways of communication, right? Like using this RFC, ECC S4 HANA will integrate master data and then transaction data. When I say master data is like a business partner, be it a customer or vendor, falls under business partner. Product master data, uh, where the materials are created in ECC that can be integrated to ATTP via RFC. These are the two master data, and then the plant and locations also can be a part of master data, which is created in ECC and S4HANA will be integrated to ATTP. So these are the three primary master data will be integrated to ATTP. And then transaction data, we have process order, which has created in ECC will be integrated to ATTP as a production order. And then inbound deliveries will be created or the information will be transferred to ATTP, outbound deliveries. All this information will be communicated via RFC, right? The same thing, like let's say some of the events, right? Events should be communicated to ATTP via OData service using the warehouse toolbox events. Let's say You pick something, you pack something, picking, packing, uh, uh, or decommissioning. These are the some of the events which can be used or sent to ATTP via toolbox events. Okay. And then some of the informations like outbound delivery information that can be transferred from ECC to ATTP via EASN. EASN is electronic form of advanced shipping notification. So this is an IDOC. Through IDOC, SAP S4HANA sends the information of outbound delivery to ATTP, right? So this is all about SAP ECC or S4HANA integration to ATTP and then packaging lines. See, these are four different platforms and then centrally connected to ATTP, or ATTP, how does it connect to four different systems? Let's say the primary connection would be between SAP ECC to ATTP, and then the client's packaging line should also have an integration between ATTP, and then the supply chain partners also should have a communication channel established so that the supply chain partner can request or send the serial number request, and then they can send or receive the PML, rather not PML, like EBCS files, right? And once the information has been received from all these three sources, once the information is sufficient enough to send data out from ATTP to government systems, it will send an uh, uh, EPCS file to government systems, be it whatever it is. Like rather, the government systems will not be directly connected, but in middle there will be a communication layer of SAP ICH, right? So these are all four different systems, right? Which has, how does it connects to ATTP? During training, we will discuss uh, each topic line by line, topic by topic, and we can discuss everything during our training content, during sessions, training sessions.
Sorry to interrupt. One doubt is there that
Yeah.
web services you are talking about the supply chain systems, right? Means that may be the CMO you are talking about.
Yeah, CMO. Be it CMO or MAH scenario, marketing authorization holder. Right. Let's say marketing authorization holder, for us, it is a supply chain partner, right?
Okay.
Where we have to, as a client, we have to produce their medicines, right? First, we need to request the serial numbers from their server, right? So this is a request. We will, as an ATTP instance, we will request for one GTIN. The GTIN is of the supply chain partner. We will request the serial numbers. The request push to ATTP via SOAP services, and then their ATTP instance or their trace system will generate the serial numbers for our request, and they'll send back to our instance. Once our instance has received the serial numbers, our line systems will use those serial numbers to produce the product, and they'll send the commission file to ATTP. And then that commission file will be sent ultimately from ATTP to the partner so that the product is done for them. And then from there, the supply chain partner will take the ownership, and then they'll send the product to their partners and
Yeah,
customers.
here there are two-way communications, and that MS to the SAP ATTP, right? But MS will be give the request to the SAP ATTP to get the number, right? That number will be used by that MS. Then once it is there, then it has to send the EPCS file to the SAP ATTP, right?
What is MS?
MS means marketing authorization holder, means
Yeah.
the brand
No,
owner.
marketing authorization will not request the serial numbers. Here in this case, ATTP, let's say Novartis is here. Novartis is requesting Ranbaxy, the serial numbers. So the request comes from Novartis to Ranbaxy. Ranbaxy will generate the serial numbers and send the serial numbers to Novartis.
Okay.
Once the receive the serial numbers, the packaging lines use those serial numbers and they'll produce the product. And then the serial number commission data will be pushed to ATTP. Once the commission data is available for the serial numbers which we have received, we will send the TPCS file communication to partner so that the generated serial numbers will have a commission data now and then send it to the supply chain partner. So here, now what is requesting serial numbers from Ranbaxy? Let's say the vice versa case, CMO,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Let's say here there is a GSK which is manufacturing a product for Novartis. In this case, what it will happen? It will request the serial numbers from supply chain partner to our ATTP instance. Our ATTP instance will generate the serial numbers and send the serial number response back to GSK, right?
Okay.
GSK will do their own manufacturing stuff, and once the commission file is ready in their stuff, they will send that information in an EPCS file to ATTP. You see, we have a slash, send or receive. Send EPCS file means MH scenario. Uh, MH scenario. Receive EPCS file means in terms of our ATTP instance, it's a CMO scenario. Request is something like we are requesting serial numbers is an MH scenario, or sending serial number request range is like CMO scenario. Like these two are two parallel things. You need to understand the difference. In one case, we will request. In other case, partner will request the serial numbers, right?
But here the HTTP that the file after EPCS generation, no, that file can be sent EPCS. This EPCS file can be sent both to them, no, that image and CMO.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm. Okay.
See, CMO will send here to us EPCS
Uh,
file. CMO is
Right.
manufacturing the product. So that
Right.
they will send, so that we will receive the EPCS file in CMO
Okay.
scenario.
Okay.
In MH scenario, we will generate the EPCS file and we will send that file to partner so that partner will receive. So sender receiver will change.
Okay. Got
Okay. So we will define all these partners, be it an MAH or CMO, we'll define the partners in ATTP as supply chain partner. Okay. Any questions or shall we move ahead?
cash process.
Thank you. So this is the same thing which we discussed, right? Like this is more of a technical stuff, and this is at just pure terms, like what other systems can be integrated, like SAP EWM, like we can integrate the third-party warehouses, third-party ERP solutions can be integrated to ATTP. And then we can have two different instances. One is local SAP ATTP and central SAP ATTP. Basically, all pharma clients use the central ATTP instance unless they want to differentiate between their own entities or own plants. They'll go with the local SAP ATTP for uh, individual plants and then centrally uh, connected to a central instance. This is a rare case. Unless until it is required, client will never ask or never a solution in scope, but it is always a central ATTP instance. And then the supply chain partner, right? Just we discussed in above slide. And the same SAP ATTP can be we can establish connection with SAP AI instance, which is an old version, right? In few scenarios, like client will push some of the data to their OER instances. It depends on how when they are retiring their landscapes, right? But still, the old landscapes can be still communicated to ATTP. Okay, not really have big knowledge. The same thing which we discussed on the above slides, uh, supply chain partner, packaging line. Now this EWM, how EWM server will be integrated to ATTP via web service or OData, ECC or S4HANA, right? This we talked on the above slides, not really big thing. So basically, the codification of drug requires these three, rather four PIs we'll call in pharma industry, like uh, the GTIN, expiration date, the batch number, and then the serial number. These are the four elements which are coded into this barcode, uh, so that
Here
this
the
can be used.
GTN will be given by whom? That the owner or from the GS1?
Um, Not GS1. Uh, See, it's a combination. We can talk on more in details. As I said, the first prerequisite for a company to register with GS1 or the is happens through a company prefix. Let's say this is a GTIN. The first we'll call is as product identifier, something the first digit. Each digit has its own significance, right?
Right.
And then next six characters we talk about the company prefix. Let's say Ranbaxy. Let's assume this is a Ranbaxy company prefix. So for every GTIN, the second to seven characters will always a company prefix followed by the first character, right? First character will help you out in determining whether it is a level one, level two product, right? And then this next uh, uh, how come seven, and then six characters would be a material number, your own material reference. This can be any of your, it can be any number, right? What you have created in ACC. It can start with 4, it can start with 2, it can start with 1. Any material number reference, you'll keep it. And then the last digit is a check digit. Based on these first 13 characters, I would say the 14th check digit will be calculated uh, uh, using certain logic, right? This check digit will be calculated based on the first 13 characters. If any of the characters is changed or any of the number is gets changed here, automatically this number check digit will be changed, so that this will be always unique. It's not like every time you this GTN will be created by GS1. No, GS1 will give you only company prefix. Based on company prefix, uh, systems should understand from which company the product is. Right? We will create a number of JTINs in our instance, but this is how the logic goes. We should use the company prefix everywhere so that it determines whether it is our product or it's a MAH product. Okay. So this is how the serialization of drugs in practice. Basically, let's say uh, once the product is manufactured, right, into blister packs, those blister packs will be uh, packed into a boxes or carton boxes where it has a barcode label generated, like be it what unit level we are tracing the product. And once these bundles are together packed onto a pallet, right, pallet serial number can be generated, and these pallets will basically shipped, or once the distribution starts, right, like these pallets will be picked and then shipped to a customer. Once these are shipped, right, like to a partner or a customer, we have to do the reporting. Like we have sold these many products of the pallet serial number information, the packaged information, the reporting information should be sent out from ATTP, right? It The events will be sent to government databases. This is pretty much the process which we are already discussing and many of us know. Yeah, as I told you, right, the GS1 standards is a primary thing which will help us to create certain data based on the information we have, like the company prefix. The company prefix will be encoded into uh, vendor or customer GLNs. See, vendors or the customers, they should be identified in ATTP with a GLN, which is global location number. Global location number is a 13-digit character, and that GLN should be encoded with company prefix, right? In that way, how do we encode the GLNs for a partner, a business partner like vendor or customer? We will talk more on that. And then the same GLN, not same GLN, the same company prefix, how it is encoded into trade items. We just discussed, right? Like the company prefix would be like from 2 to 7 characters, from second digit to uh, seventh digit. How does the company prefix of a GS1 given will be encoded into our trade items, in which we'll call it as GTIN, global trade item number, right? And the inbound and outbound deliveries, like we have certain format of sending the data with certain tags, let's say lot tag, expiration date tag, sender information, receiver GLN. So those communications between inbound and outbound deliveries or the production order, right? Every communication should happen in terms of GS1 standards, so that ATTP will understand or easily decode that information what it has received in the file and read into database tables, right? Even the warehouse toolbox events, it also communicates in a way with the GS1 standards, right? So technically speaking, ATTP will understand the certain key fields only in terms of GS1 standards. Let's say if you given a wrong GLN, which doesn't have a company prefix defined in our system will not allow you to create those GLNs. And then uh, the data integrations, how it does work. Like you might have observed these things in our earlier slides. Master data is like inbound to ATTP, which can be connected through RFC, remote function call. Even the same transaction data is an inbound data to ATTP, which is created in S4. These two things will be sent to ATTP via RFC. And then warehouse toolbox events, something like, as I told you, picking, packing, decommissioning, or shipping rather. Certain events can be sent using warehouse toolbox events from inbound to OData service. Okay. This, as I told you, like ATTP should receive the data in a certain format with a certain tags, as I told you, encoding and decoding tags in an EPCS file format, right? So this format will uh, help SAP ATTP to understand and read the tags, basically, right? So this EPCS file is basically the carrier between um, warehouse toolbox or the packaging lines or the partners, which they will send the information or they receive the information through an electronic product code information services, right? Like this carrier will carry the information what it has to be sent or received, and then through SAP EPCS interface the information will be captured, and the EPCS should have core business vocabulary elements, right? Certain tags should be defined in ATTP. Some of the tags will be predefined in ATTP. And if at all we need to have a custom tags, how do we make it custom tags and read that file, right? And if at all the client is sending or we are sending a custom tags for the as per the client needs, we need to define those custom tags into core business vocabulary elements, and then push those data informations to ATTP, from ATTP to partner, or receiving the same data from partner to ATTP. Right, this is more of a technical stuff. If we have during the training session, right, like once the training started, like we can talk line by line how the file information is carried from one server to other server, or from one partner to another partner. So basically, these are all different aspects how a data gets captured into ATTP, right? The repository data model will have these things like the events will be sent in an EPCS file format, which in certain cases have encoded format or the decoded format. Based on either of the logic, ATTP has the capability to read that file, whatever has been sent in EPCS file, and those events will be captured in ATTP as an event, right? Here, when I say event creation in ATTP, events are like commissioning, packing, shipping, uh, unpacking, decommissioning. These are all the events. For certain events, let's say when a shipping event is posted, when we set up certain rules in ATTP in the backend, it will generate reporting events. So basically, events are categorized into two things. Like events are the inbound things which are uh, getting from external source, and reporting events are the outbound events which are we are sending as a part of communication from ATTP to other servers. This is like inbound, this is like outbound. And then we'll cover the SGTIN, SSAs, and LGTIN, Lord GTIN commissionings. And then event capture logic, like we can talk, there are many functions which we can use basically in ATTP, like SAP auto unpack, auto create. Uh, there are certain other logics as well. If required, we'll talk more on this event capturing logics, what it does take us to implement these things. And then the transactions like production order or process order, deliveries and batches, like how does these communications, or once these orders are created in ECC, how these get integrated to ATTP. Um, we will talk more on that. Okay, I'll try to wind up the session in next 5 minutes. It is too lengthy, maybe too boring for you. I'm talking more in detail in demo session itself. Uh, I'll quickly walk you through the slides. Okay, we'll close the session in next 5 minutes. If you have any doubts, we can talk later. This is all I talked about. EASN or the EPCS file communication. How does it? What it does take from for us to implement these two things? We can talk on during the sessions. This you much pretty much know, the serial number management. Once the packaging line sends or requests the serial numbers, um, the commission data will be sent back as an event through warehouse toolbox integrator, and then warehouse tools will perform these actions like goods receipt, put away, unpack, pack, pick, goods issue, or goods receipt, whatever it is, right? These are the two segments, serial number management and event management, will be discussed more in detail. Uh, this, I feel like at this point of time, not required. Uh, if required, if you have any doubts during your migration projects, if you're the client or the company which you are working, right, working on a migration project, if you want more information on this, we'll talk on this. This is also, I believe, just a comparison view between SAP old AI instance and then uh, with the latest SAP ATTP, what are the features enabled in SAP ATTP, which were not there in SAP AI old instance, right? Let's quickly move to the training content. We'll divide this topic into modules. First, we'll start from the basics. Many of us know, but for the benefit of newcomers, right? Like we'll cover on these topics as well. Uh, why ATTP is required, commonly used terms, how does what it will take us to implement this integration with external systems or interfaces, right? We'll give some introduction, some sort of introduction. These are the subtopics, and then serialization, um, with the help of GS1 standards, barcode symbology, and then EPCS, electronic product code informations. We'll communicate or we'll cover this in module 2. Uh, Building blocks, which is a minor topic. We can quickly wrap up during these GS1 standard sessions. Even these things like building blocks of GTIN, GLN, EPCS, this all can be covered during GS1. These are more or less same basic version, like uh, basics to ATTP or basics to GS1. And then here comes the main thing, like EPCS, events in manufacturing. Events in manufacturing, as I said, events are like inbound to ATTP, and how APCS will capture those events, right? So, and then this is actually the main core component. As I told you, the core component will talk with more on ATTP cockpit, master data, transaction data, serial number management, repository browser. So these are the main elements, sub-elements which have defined or see it in cockpit. Basically, these are tightly integrated. We'll navigate from here to here, from here to here. So I'll show you in the real server or during the training sessions, not real server, during trainings, right? We can more talk on cockpit, and these are the main topics which we'll cover. These are pretty much like ATTP functionality and flow, uh, features given by ATTP. And then from reporting perspective, we can talk on generic reporting as well. Um, as I told you, like these are the main regulatory reportings: EU, US, Russia, China, the reporting which we can talk. And then the event postings from packaging line, CMO onboarding, CMO integration, and then MAH onboarding. So these are the three different scenarios, as I told you from the beginning, right? Like there are three different manufacturing processes, and how the data will be managed in ATTP. We'll talk more in detail as per the topic, right? And then all these events will be captured in an AIF monitoring transaction. We can talk on this particular transaction, and then once it is done, right, we can talk more on end-to-end implementation and then few integration steps between EWM and ATTP. So these are the topics mainly which we'll cover during the training. Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Anirudh, really a lot of information we had from you. Okay,
Okay.
so definitely it will use for me, I think. So during once training section started, then I can learn much more from your end, I think. Really, thank you for the demo section.
Yeah. I mean, if someone asks any question, right, I'll go more in detail to understand, make it understand
No, no,
easily.
no.
And
It's okay. Even some people they are in the full technically. Some people they are it's a enter stage. Okay, so new.
yeah.
So that's why even also Mr. Biswa asking a lot of question. It is more. So before we need to learn a lot of things. So we'll start from
Yes. Yeah.
beginning. So then it will be useful for everyone.
Yep. Yeah. Mm, yeah, we covered like most of the questions in demo, and during the training also. If I mean, once the sessions are finalized and right, like session started, you always feel free to ask me as many questions as possible so that I'll go more in detail to explain you to your question to understand. It's always like, for me, it is always like knowledge sharing. It's not like
Yes,
something what I
exactly.
teach you, you will take it. Sometimes I may learn few things from you people as well, right? Like in real time, how does it work? How
Mm.
you people are working. For me, for us, it is training altogether. It's all about sharing my knowledge, my experience as a consultant to implement ATTP to the clients. I'll share that knowledge, which will help you going forward in your future endeavors. That's it.
Okay.
One doubt is there. As you said, the
Yeah.
GLN, no? The
Yeah.
GLN means the GLN is the 13 digit, right? The prefix will be integrated with the GLN, right?
Yeah. Prefix also will be encoded into GLN.
But what about the GTN? That GLN is the part of the GTN.
No. GLN is different. GTN is different. Again, GLN has three components. As I said, similar to GTN, uh, we'll define company prefix. There is a location reference and then last check digit. Okay. Here the location. See, for every GLN or GTN, let's say in product, I'm saying material reference number. In the location, in the GLN, I'm saying location reference number, right?
Right,
In these
right.
two cases, the second element is like location reference in GLN, product reference or the material reference in
GTN.
trade item.
Okay.
But preceding numbers is always GLN, the company prefix. Company prefix followed by location reference followed by check digit, right? In case of GTIN, company prefix, material reference number, and then check digit.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Abhijit, I have one doubt over here. So,
Yeah.
doesn't this SAP ATTP will come into the picture only once the finished product is already like designed by the companies, or does it come from the this SAP ATTP comes into the picture from the start, like from raw material till the packaging and distribution, or is only from the finished product? Like once we have a finished product, so from there itself, does this SAP ATTP comes,
Yeah.
or is it how like
Yeah.
do we
SAP
have like different
ATTP,
patterns?
no, SAP ATTP primarily works on the finished products, not from
Okay.
the raw material
Uh-huh.
combinations, right?
Nowhere in the QC and QA in the companies because way back I worked in QC, so we do use the software, but I don't recollect whether the SAP any type of SAP ATTP comes there in the quality testing and quality control in the QC department. No, right?
No, no.
Okay. And
Few,
one.
I
Mm,
think uh, QC, you do it once it is like the finished the product, right? After
yes,
finishing the
yes,
product, you do the
yes,
QC. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Even in that case, uh, see, how does it work? Before manufacturing or starting a production for any medicine, right? They
Mm-hmm.
cannot simply produce the product for serialized product. The prerequisite for them to start the production physically is they should have serial numbers in their line system. If they don't have serial numbers, they cannot start the production process, the physical production process, right?
Okay, okay, yeah.
Let's say you are manufacturing 1,000 paracetamol tablets, strips, okay? You request those 1,000 serial numbers from ATTP first. Once you receive those 1,000 serial numbers, then the production kicks in, the physical production.
Okay. Uh-huh.
The physical production may take you to get the raw materials from different raw materials, but ATTP doesn't really care what raw materials you are doing it. Once the
Uh-huh.
1,000 paracetamol medicines were manufactured, right? Once it is done,
Mm-hmm.
you will give a date like expiration date. You will put the lot
Mm-hmm.
number, and you will
Yes.
tag those two elements to the received serial numbers from ATTP. and you will send
Mhm.
that information along with these two tags to ATTP.
Mhm.
We call that data as a commission data, right?
Oh.
It's like
Mhm.
you are requesting a dummy serial numbers from ATTP. It's like serial number generator tool. The ATTP
Mhm.
will give you the serial numbers, and you are
Mhm.
adding certain information to those serial numbers. Like this is the lot number which I am sending it for these serial numbers, and this is the expiration date, right? So these two elements will be tagged to those serial numbers, and you send it as a commission data back to it. We have that certain information of commission
Mhm.
data. Now,
Mhm.
no question. Here the QC may take 1,000, they may take first five tablets or the last five tablets or five strips, and they do QC, right? They
Yes, sir.
cannot actually ship those products to market. It is like you have used for your QC purpose. It's like
Mhm.
for that product need to be either decommissioned in ATTP, right? Decommissioned products will not be sent to market.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
Or you may take for a few of them for sampling. You need to send that information back to ATTP saying that these are the five serial numbers which I took for sampling. These are the
Mhm.
five serial numbers which are to be decommissioned in ATTP. And the
Mhm.
rest of the serial numbers will be sent as an active serial numbers as a commission data from line to ATTP, right? So
Mhm.
it always takes us uh, on the finished product, not on the raw material level.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Anirudh. I got a better understanding. And I have one last question.
Yeah.
So, I in the GS1 standard slide, right? So, I noticed the SAP ECC and S4 HANA. So, do we use this? I know that it's a name. SAP S4 HANA is like a name of the version.
Yeah,
So, do we use this as a basic and then followed by SAP ATTP? Because I just noticed that SAP ECC S4 HANA. So, you mentioned about business partners and transaction data, warehouse toolbox events. So all this will be like categorized and designed within SAP ECC,
no, no.
or is it in SAP ATTP?
No, we will not design in terms of GS1. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear. Yes.
Okay, so we'll not design anything in terms of GS1 logic.
Uh-huh.
How we will use that naming convention or the formats? So let's say I told you a couple of times, like the data will always flows from ECC to ATTP, right? Let's say GLN. GLN will be tagged to a customer or vendor. In
Mm-hmm.
S4 HANA, when a customer vendor is created, when a business partner vendor or a customer is created, we will set up that GLN information in the master data, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
where the
Yeah.
we will set up the master data in a JSON format in S4 HANA, and then the same information will be pushed from S4 HANA to ATTP. ATTP is just a
Okay.
receiver instance.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Similarly, for a product material master in S4, we will tag GTINs, right? The GTIN should be in GS1 format so that the material saved, whatever the material saved in S4 will be sent to ATTP. It's not like something we have to
Okay.
design something of GS1 format in SAP ACC
Mm-hmm.
HANA, nor
Uh-huh.
in ATTP, will not do anything. The
Mm-hmm.
format is predefined. We will just make use
Okay.
of this format. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in both the servers, SAP has the capability to understand whether you are inputting the right GLN or right GTIN. If you
Mm-hmm.
are by mistake, if you enter a wrong check digit at the last check digit, right? Last digit, when I say be it GLN or GTIN, system has the capability to read the matrix and throw an error message. This is a wrong GTIN, wrong check digit. You need to
Okay.
modify.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Thank you so much.
One more doubt.
Yeah.
Actually, the SAP ATTP is no way linked with the packaging line. Am I right?
No, no, it is linked. Packaging
Uh,
lines are linked.
Why I'm saying, suppose being a client, right, and I'm using SAP ATTP, right, and being a
Mhm.
client, I am having own server, right, and I will get the
Mhm.
number from the SAP ATTP. Suppose 1,000 numbers I take from the SAP ATTP. With the 1,000 number, that will be stored in my pool, the server pool, and from my
Mhm.
server, I will give the number to my packaging line, right, and all serialization happen in that conditions. So in that condition, is it anyway linked to that packaging line to the SAP ATTP?
It all depends on how, at what level of communication we are doing. These are some typical terms, right? Packaging line, site server. How do we define, right? Like, how do we establish the connection? It's all depends on client to client, Biswajit.
Okay,
Basically, the server pool we will define. Even the inside, we can establish a connection to the site level as well, the packaging line as well. Let's say optal server has three lines, line 1, line 2, line 3. We can define
right.
all these three different lines in ATTP instance, and then all these three lines can communicate to ATTP and request their own serial numbers. It's not like the ATTP server at the top, or the optal server directly only communicate to ATTP. No, the optal will still have certain lines, right?
Right.
So those individual lines can also be connect to ATTP and get their own pool of serial numbers.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, you are saying that line also can be directly linked to that SAP ATTP. That
Correct.
may happen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Got it.
Hello, sir. Andrew, sir, I have one question. In ATTP is in logistics in use it this in SAP?
I
Hello.
didn't get your question, Gopi.
Okay.
Can
Is
you ask?
ATTP is in ATTP use it that in ILM International Logistics Management or use it or not?
I, as per my knowledge, to your question, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm hearing this international logistics management for the first time. If you have any connections or have the knowledge, please share. As per my knowledge, I don't think so.
Okay. It is used in SCM, supply chain management, or EWM.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. These are tightly integrated. EWM.
Okay. Extension warehouse management and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
SCM.
Yeah, yeah. These are this is the main reason, right? Like, in warehouse we do n number of activities. All these
Okay.
activities will be uh, captured as an events into ATTP. Be it pick,
Okay.
pack, sampling, receiving,
Okay. Okay.
put away, everything.
Okay.
All this
Everything.
can be captured as an event to ATTP, so that every information will be captured, and then the subsequent steps will be followed in ATTP.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Amir.
Yeah, Anirudh. Hi, hi.
Hey.
So, I need to see. My question is like, see, we don't know anything about SAP till now. Okay,
Mhm.
and you said like this for this and for this first we have to learn SAP uh, S4 HANA, right? But you said no need of that thing. Wherever the implementation part is there, you will show us,
Mm,
right?
mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So with this, this is 2 months course, right? 2 months course.
It's not precise to any certain dates. It's all
Mm.
about completing the course.
Okay.
Uh, See, it depends on how the batch is taking the uh, content. If the team is taking, if the batch is taking information only, right? It may extend 1 or 2 weeks. It's not a
Okay.
predefined thing. Yeah,
Okay.
roughly it is like 2 month course.
Okay. 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 Fine.
And if it is something, if you are very new to SAP, right?
Mm.
Maybe for you, I can take one additional session. The important things which you need to know in SAP, right? Not
Yeah.
in just terms of ATTP, on an high level, or what is important in SAP ECC or S4 HANA, which you need to know.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Some
Yes.
very basics I can take one separate session.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Anil.
Yeah.
Uh, my question is how much the difference the ATTP is with TraceLink, LSP, Excel, and other serialization softwares. And since I do have expertise in all of these, I am just wondering. I am just going to switch towards the ATTP. So, what's the latest difference between these?
First and foremost is a tight integration between uh, ERP systems with ATTP, and then seamless integration. If we talk in terms of high level, right, management level, TraceLink also offers a good solution, but maintenance wise, costing wise, it will cost more to a client yearly maintenance. And ATTP is something like a one time big investment. You can do your own robustic solutions within the client, and then uh, later on you can leverage this solution with a minimal cost. And
No, I am not
capturing the market size.
asking about the cost or other stuff. I'm just asking about the comparison. How, in terms of technical point of view, how much difference in the software operation is with other serialization solution provider and ATTP.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, as I said, these are two different aspects. One is management, the other one is like technical, which helps. Like as I told you, like this seamless integration between ERP instances to ATTP, which is a good fetch. That is one major difference. The other aspects, which I cannot really comment, how does the TraceLink server works and all, what are the limitations for them. But majority of the clients where do I work is like they migrate from TraceLink to HTTP. It's not like once, uh, never a client move from HTTP to other solution. It's always like the initial days client may use for low cost solutions, and then they feel like it is uncomfortable for them, not do enough solutions for them, they'll move to HTTP with a robustic. In terms of technicalities of other solutions, I cannot really comment because I don't have that exposure. But HTTP will offer end-to-end technical aspects which will cover their all scenarios.
The question is, for example, with the experience in other systems, how long will it gonna take to transition in the ATTP platform, like SAP ATTP and ICH? I do already have the experience with an onboarding connection setup and EPCI discrepancies, warehouse management, and disposition change, and other stuff with different software. So my company is right now switching to ATTP. So my question over here is that how much operational difference is between the ATTP and other serialization software?
Operational difference means you are asking more in terms of operations wise or the implementation time wise.
Operational and implementation both. I mean, like
Implementation is
that.
all about the sizing, right? Like how many, uh, what is the size of your implementation? How many plants gets involved, GTINs, whether you are doing it in a rollout phase or in one go you are doing all the implementation. It all depends on the decision, right? Which I cannot really comment. And then process wise, see, everything, the serialization process, what you do in your current landscape should be migrated to ATTP. It's maybe, I'm assuming few of your custom solutions might not be required to migrate because most of the things might be standard here in ATTP. So it's the implementation partner whom you are using. They should have the capability to understand whether it is being covered in a standard solution or a custom solution is needed in ATTP to cover your custom solutions. To cover up all, basically the implementation roughly it would be like 8 to 10 months uh, to migrate any serialization servers like from any other partner to ATTP. It
Okay.
all depends on the sizing also, right?
Operational wise, I mean, like if we pick up any of the software and having the expertise on serialization and like RFX, LSPD, traceling, and however R2 and other stuff. So, how long will it gonna take for me to have a transition on ATTP? I mean, like how much training time will it require? I mean, like I do have the experience with master data setup and connection setup, onboarding and everything and other platform, but not in ATTP.
Yeah, for you it will be quick enough. You know the majority of the stuff. Only content device ATTP for you it's a quick thing. Like rather I would say a 10-hour session would be sufficient.
All
I
right,
mean,
I will.
roughly
Then I
speaking,
will.
one-on-one 10 hours for your with your knowledge, it would be great. We can cover.
All right, I will gonna talk with Naveen on this then. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I mean, one last question. Right? So, I
Yeah,
mean,
Joshi.
currently in my company, Deloitte, so we do use the SAP S4HANA and SAP transaction codes for the client invoices and all. So, does it really differ? I mean, do we have a separate terminology for the SAP ATTP? Because I know like how to use the SAP S4 and HANA, the transaction codes and search the information there. But I believe that is completely different with the SAP ATTP. So do we have like a separate terminology here to understand more? Because I am a pharmacy postgraduate, but I just switched from the pharmacy to IT and non-IT almost 10 years now. So my request from your end would be if you can just share some information like a basic terminologies so that like the codes which you have used right now. So
Yeah,
few things I'm quite aware of, but most of the things if you it's better if you share those details before going in depth in the course. So it would be my
yeah,
humble request from my end.
sure, Joshi. Yeah. Yeah, once we start our real training, right, I'll understand where you are and what it is required for you. I can explain you with your questions more in detail.
Okay. Thank you. And the SAP like S4 and SAP 7.6, so are those all the same or is it something different with the SAP ATTP?
Those are all different, Jishan. Don't worry
Okay.
about the versions. Look at
Mhm,
the functionality first.
mhm,
What functionalities are there in the latest versions of ECC or S4HANA, and
mhm.
uh, what it is needed on S4 side to integrate data to ATTP. You look at these solutions wise rather than versions wise. You cannot really talk on versions more.
Okay, 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 fine. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. If you have any further questions, no, you can route those questions to Naveen. Naveen can help me to forward those questions and then I can reply you back, guys.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, s- yeah. Go ahead. Any queries, Jishan?
No, no, nothing. I mean, I'm just
Okay.
about to say thank you for your time and patience as well. That's all. Yeah.
No problem. Thanks. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you, Anirudh. Thank you. Thanks for the wonderful demo. Okay. We'll wind up for the day. Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you, Mr. Anirudh and Mr. Nagin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.